Chris and Mike Driggers on Money 105.5.
Good morning, Money 105.5 listeners. Welcome to In the Now. I'm Brandon with my buddy here, Mike.
Good morning. How are you? How's everybody? How was everybody's Easter?
Oh, man, Easter was great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the Easter holidays this year.
The weather.
Yeah, it was
The weather was
beautiful.
amazing. Everybody was out. Everybody was happy to be there. There was just so much going on. And this is the one time I could say everybody brought a dish that I liked.
Oh, that's always good, right?
Even my mom made a dish. I was like, okay, she made 3 dishes. One of them, which one's the one that I'm going to like? I liked all 3 of them.
Yeah, so you end up eating it. So now you got to recover from
Oh,
all
I
that.
actually took a nap, man. I passed out about a half of an hour in a chair, like, oh, I'm food coma toast.
Yeah, you get that, what do they call that, lunch butt?
Yeah.
Where the lunch falls to your butt and you start sliding in the chair.
Sliding into the chair and feeling how comfortable it was and just relaxing. I'm sure there'll be a couple of social media posts of me sleeping in a chair from Easter.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, it was a good Easter family, get together and stories. A friend of mine, they had put out eggs for their for the kids, and then they were getting ready to go out and have the kids go look for the eggs, and the dogs had got to all the eggs and ate them except for like one.
Oh, my goodness. They were the
Shell-
real eggs.
Shell and everything.
Oh, no. Those dogs are in trouble.
Yep. So it was interesting, but it was good. It was a good holiday.
Yeah.
Glad to move forward into the new week, prepare for the next big events.
The next big quarter, and we got a big event coming up this year.
Yep.
And we got one coming this month. So we've got a big event towards the end of the year we're going to be announcing here in June. But right now we have the Design It course on April 20th, 21st, and 22nd here at the Hyatt in Roseville. And we're still giving out a couple free tickets that we have left. So those of you who have been listening to the show and know that we're really trying to give as much as possible, go to designitcourse.com and get your free ticket with the promo code DesignIt105. And actually right now for the next 48 hours, the door is wide open. You just go to Design It Course, hit the registration button, go right to the Eventbrite page, and get your free ticket. You, a guest, 2 guests. I think there's 10 free tickets still available.
Yeah, absolutely. Go grab them. Take advantage of this.
Yeah, you're going to love it. I mean, today we have a great show for you. You have Amy Collins, the president of New Shelf Books. Amazing guest, going to talk to you about being an authority and being an author in this market right now. For all you business owners out there that have that book hidden inside of you, we've got something for you today. I mean, this is going to be a fun one because people think that you just can't put the book out, but you can. You can do it quickly.
Well, if you look at what's going on in marketing and positioning, the best way to start putting out there so that you attract your clients is position yourself as an authority. And if you look at the word authority, the anchor word is author. And so, and it's about having an expert positioning book. It doesn't have to be like a major novel. You're not trying to be like Roland Collins to, the next big award-winning book. It's an expert positioning book that allows you to either educate your customers on your product or it could be, it's anything that starts the position. But the fact is, the topic, it doesn't necessarily, you could do a book on mindset, and the fact that you're an author, right, and you give somebody a book, you're one of your clients, it's a whole nother level of recognition that folks don't realize. Like when I did my first book, I was trying to figure out how to speak within the direct sales industry. I could do it for the companies I was in, but I needed to position myself for others. And I wrote this, but it was like 50 pages, and it wasn't even anything worth value, meaning that I wrote 50 pages, and I put this all together on how to use QR codes in your business. Well, the interesting thing that happened was that it was good information. It did have some value, but what it was is that it didn't even have my name on the spine. Like there was so many mistakes that
It was
I
your first
made.
book.
It was my first book, and it was so
You got it out
But
there.
it was like 50 pages, and I got it out there. But you know what's interesting is that year, it brought me several $100,000 in speaking gigs and contracts. And you know what was the most interesting part? 60% of the contracts and the things that came to me had nothing to do with the book or the industry I was speaking in.
Yeah, it happens.
So the fact that, having a book and position yourself as an authority, it is so easy to do today to create one and then also market it and distribute it. And that's why today's guest, I'm excited because Amy's like my go-to person. I've gone through all her trainings and stuff, so I'm looking forward to this interview about how to start, thinking about positioning yourself as an expert, but, the book industry in itself and how it's shifting and how it helps you, whether you're a small business, coach, consultant, doesn't
Restaurant
matter.
owner, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Does not matter.
And that's kind of what we do in the Design It course is we teach you how to brand your message and put your position into play so that you can actually do this on scale. But when you get to the book level, then it brings it to a whole nother scale. Now you've got a position in this market, and if you get a publisher out there, like when Amy runs this New Shelf Books, they've done over 40 million books. That's a lot.
Hey, you think?
Into the bookstores, 40 million. That's a lot.
That's a lot of books, right?
So, just going forward is that you can position yourself. There's people out there putting books out right now, and they're just using social media for the impact and cutting out all the retailers and still selling a lot of books. But if you get a publisher on your side, get into the right positioning, your book goes even faster.
Well, and let's go to the opposite side of that, right? So, and we teach this in the Design It. The book can also be the magnet to your funnel. It may not be your seller. You're not trying to make a lot of money on it, but it leads to the opportunity to make more money, right? It goes right into the fact that it can be you can give it away and they pay shipping and handling, which pays for the cost of the book and the shipping. And then now it leads them into your funnel to work with you. So we're going to go to commercial break here. As soon as we come back, on Money Talk 105.5 in the Now with Mike Driggers and Brandon Heights, we're going to bring on our special guest, Amy Collins. So stay tuned. We'll talk to you in a little bit.
5 app.
Cut the recording, but I'd have to reboot.
Welcome back, you guys. We're
All
rebooting
right.
this one right
We're
now. So we got
rebooting.
a special guest, Amy Collins, the president of New Shelf Books, one of the best-known book sales and marketing agencies in the U.S. in the last 20 years. Amy and her team have sold over 40 million books into the bookstore, library, chain stores, marketing for small and mid-sized publishers. This lady is the key go-to for this. Amy.
She is the book expert.
Yeah, Amy Collins. How are you?
Go on, guys. Go on. How's everyone out there in California? How's everything going?
We're doing good. It's actually a nice little day break today. It's been sunny, 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 and all of a sudden it's just got a little bit of cloud coming in.
Yeah. How about you're in New York, right?
I am in New York. We're having gray, cloudy skies, and I was going to complain until I realized that there were no dogs in my backyard eating my Easter eggs. So
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah.
And just for the record, that will be my new euphemism for at least a week. I'm going to, just say, hey, you don't have any dogs eating your Easter eggs, do you? It's going to be my new saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was funny when he was telling the story. Gabby was telling me and sharing it with me that about the family that had the eggs and all that. It was just, it's like, oh my God, those dogs ate the shell and everything.
And the fact that I didn't even think of that, the first thing I would have thought is Rex is going to eat everything we place in the backyard. He was chewing through the plastic eggs, getting to the chocolate, and we were like, no,
freaking out.
You can't do that.
So, Amy, welcome to the show. We're excited. Like I said, Amy's I've been through a lot of her trainings, and she teaches some really impressive stuff on like how to work with the wholesale distribution, the different distributors, how to get into the airports and the local books, the libraries. She's got some pretty amazing stuff. And so I've been following Amy for a while, and then, like I said, she's my go-to. She's recently helped me with one of my books that I was having trouble. But Amy, why don't you share with our audience, what do you see going on in the industry, the shift, and why it's important today as a business to even think about, or an individual to think about having a book?
Well, thanks for asking. There are a number of things that over the last decade has made the world of publishing much easier and much more affordable for small business owners, for experts, for consultants, for entrepreneurs to get their expertise out there in book format. The world of print on demand and the companies that offer print on demand services. Print on demand is a business model that the publishing industry has adopted and really taken to heart in the last decade that allows small run digital printed copies of books that look almost, I defy anyone to, at this day and age. The technology is so good. People really can't tell the difference between a digitally printed book and a more traditionally printed book in this day and age.
Yeah.
But because of this print-on-demand business model, people now are able to use a few select companies to create and get a book out there, get it sent out to their clients, to their clientele, to potential clients. They can get it up on Amazon. They can get it into the Barnes & Noble website system. Doesn't mean they can get it on their shelves. And so in the last decade, and in the last even few months, there's been even more changes and more services available to people who have a message that they want to put into book form. That, however, is not the same thing as properly publishing your book. There are people out there who just put their expertise into what I call a book-shaped format and call it a day. And Mike, you were talking about your first book.
Yeah.
50 pages, no writing on the spine. You did great. It made you hundreds of thousands of dollars. That was a book-shaped project.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what I try and do is work with people who would like their reputation, the gravitas of their message, to match and to actually have a published book, published properly, done the right way, so that it is indistinguishable from something that's coming out of Random House or HarperCollins business.
That's great. And you're right. A lot of them are just trying to get that digital ebook put out right away. And it's great. That's a good start. I mean, you can start that way. But when you really want to dig in and have that message and really, like you said, just nail it and get the full gravity of it all pushing, that's when you need you.
Yeah, and I think that there's, like Amy was saying, there's different levels right now, and especially today, it's because it's so simple. I looked at that first book as that was my business card, and
Yep.
it actually did have my email, phone number in there, and it did the purpose of what I needed to do. But as I've progressed, now I'm starting to play in the arena of what Amy's talking about, because now I want to go down that path. I've created several books, but now it's for me to go to that next level. So it's a great stepping stone to get people into that, to positioning as an authority. So
Amy, what questions should a business or expert ask themselves before doing a book?
Well, one of the most important questions that I ask my students is, should this be a book? Now, I know I'm here on your show to talk about how amazing books are, but I'm here to tell you, not every business owner, not every expert, not every theory deserves to be an entire book. Maybe it doesn't need to be a book. Maybe it needs to be a white paper or a small ebook that is, 15 to 60 pages. Just because you have some amazing expertise and some amazing content you want to get out there, it might be better off on video. What if it doesn't belong in an actual book? What if it belongs in some other format? So the first and most important question is this actually book worthy, or is it more of a magazine article? Is it more of a blog or a white paper? Is it maybe a series of syndicated articles you can do with Forbes? Are there things you can do with this content? And if the answer is yes, it should be a book. The second question is, who are my readers? Who is going to buy this book? And those are the two questions. They're the toughest questions, and I'm happy to expand upon them. But the first question is, should it be a book? And if the answer is yes, and in lots of times the answer is not yes, but if the answer is yes, okay, then who would buy this book? Yeah, neither of those questions are particularly exciting or romantic. People just want to get their message out there, but I always put the brakes on and depress them.
Yeah, and again, I think from the different angle on what you're trying to do, like, I think the question, one of the questions should be like, what's your ultimate goal with the book is, right? And because then you can detail, okay, I just want to get leads. Well, maybe an ebook solution or, a business card book would be the option. But if you're looking to get your message and you got enough content and the audience, is maybe it's corporate executives, or you're doing a book around leadership, right? Your principles, your philosophies, and maybe that's the case, right? You need to know your audience, obviously.
Yeah, and once you realize you do have a book, and then narrowing down who that audience is for, that's the key thing, is what's the message and which audience is going to receive it.
What do you think?
And
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask is, so if somebody's, what are some of the disappointments that authors commonly experience with going through this process? Like, what do you see if, okay, maybe they were all excited and they wanted a book and now they're like, I don't know.
They got to the third chapter and they're like stumped and hitting walls.
Well, that's one of them. I'll give you one or two brief examples that just came from the last week. But these examples I have faced this and heard these stories countless times. So, option number one of Story of Disappointments, Chapter 1. An author will come to me with a finished book that they paid a publisher to publish for them.
Huh.
And they paid a lot of money, thousands of dollars, so that they could be properly published. And they hand me their book, and they are so excited. And they want to get into bookstores and libraries. They want airport stores. Airport stores are king in a lot of people's mind. Mm. And I then have the unfortunate and very sad job of telling them that their 112-page paperback that their publisher has priced at $21.97 is not going to get on any shelf of any airport store ever. That it was priced too high. Another disappointment is these self-publishing companies, vanity presses, co-publishing companies, whatever you want to call them, will give the author too much control over their cover and their design, and even though they spent a lot of money and they're very proud of their book, it doesn't actually look like a professionally published book.
Yeah.
And so the cover and the design knocks them out of most of the sales and most of the impressions they're going to make on Amazon.com. Amazon.com has been slowly losing market share in the book industry over the last few years. Not that Amazon isn't doing great, but they're focusing more on electronics and clothing and I mean, books aren't even in their top 5 in terms of things they're interested in right now. And so a lot of book sales book sales are doing fine, but they're moving elsewhere. However, Amazon is still almost half of new book sales in the United States, and they're 61% of book sales internationally. So and that's not even counting ebooks. So you have to have a great cover. You can't be priced out of the market. And when you use a company that you hire to do these things for you, you usually end up with a poorly designed book that has been priced out of the market. That is one example. I have countless others, but those are some of the disappointments that authors may face. And like you when you published your first book, although it did great because it wasn't supposed to be an actual book, I can't tell you the number of authors who come to me without printing on the spine. Or their back cover copy, they put 2/3 of their back cover copy is their bio with their picture because they want it to be a business card. But a book is not a business card. If you're going to design and create a written book-shaped object that you can give out at sessions and that you can give out as part of workshops and at speaking engagements, that's terrific. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to publish a book, you need to follow traditional publishing rules, and that includes not taking up half the back cover about the author because they don't do that.
Hogging all the space.
Yeah. Well, and, it's funny because so my second book, which Amy actually helped me on recently, is I went through, because I didn't know enough about the industry. I was still learning, and there was a company that's promoting. I see them all the time on Facebook trying to promote and get new authors. And what happened is that they published my book, and I'm going with what they're saying. Although they did give me some freedom on the cover, which the cover is really nice. It's my Mastering the Mindset book. But what ended up happening is they assigned an ISBN number to me that never got registered. And so when I finally came to Amy and said, Amy, I want to get this into the bookstores, and I've got these 3,000 books that are sitting in my garage, there was 2 mistakes that happened on those books. The very first one, the ISBN, they never registered. And the second one is I didn't understand my avatar when I first did. I didn't know who my ideal client was. I just thought it was a cool book I wanted to design, and it's a beautiful book. It's great for the tabletop, but the point I'm making is they didn't guide me the way that you should have been. And so now I'm struggling. Amy had to help me get it into Amazon Seller from a different point of view, where I've got to promote the book in a different way now because of not knowing, right? And I think it's really important.
So it's important to find the right person. So
Yeah,
Amy Collins is the right person.
Yes.
And
yes.
you have a free book for our
Maybe.
audience right now. So you have a book called The
Yeah.
Right Way. This is a
Yes,
free
we do.
ebook you're giving out to our clients. Anyone who's listening to the radio can go to newshelves.com/store. And there's an option there for a free ebook copy of her book, The Right Way.
Yeah, so I mean, it is important to really know who your audience is. But that's a great point that you're making, Amy, about that. That sometimes it's outpriced for the distribution in the traditional book world.
Yeah. So that's why you want to find a
That's your
coach, and that's
goal.
that's why we have you on the show today. So after the break, we're going to dig a little bit deeper into that. But basically, right now, what we're trying to tell everyone out there is, if you've got a message, you find the right coach, you get the book put out, and you know who your audience is. That's going to move you forward. So after the break, we'll have more from Amy, and that's what we're going to do today. So in the Now Radio 105.5, Amy Collins guest.
Yes,
you in
stay
a few.
tuned. Book Marketing, Money 105.5 in the now.
5 Act.
Welcome back to In the Now. We've got guest speaker Amy Collins, the president of New Shelf Books, one of the best-known book sales and marketing agencies in the U.S. for the last 20 years. Amy and her team have sold over 40 million books into the bookstore. 40 million books into the bookstore. This is a definite expert. So those of you out there that have a story, that have a message that you need to share, and you know who your audience is, definitely check out Amy at newshelves.com. And that's Amy Collins from New Shelf Books. Hi, Amy. How are you?
I'm good, Mike. How are you two doing today?
We're doing good. So
That was Brandon.
That was
but
Brandon, by
thanks,
the-
Mike. Brandon, Mike.
we go behind you. Hey, you sometimes, So
From now on, I will simply refer to you as sweeties or honey.
Oh, yeah.
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So thank you for all the tips before the break. But I got a question for you. You're a singer in a blues band too?
I am. I'm a I almost said tragically trained. I'm a classically trained opera singer from way back in my youth, and now I'm in a Celtic blues band on the weekends and just having fun with it. It's a great hobby.
oh, how cool.
And so you're saving up for this faster motorcycle, I hear.
I actually am. I own a fantastic Victory. It's about 1,600 cc's. It's a big bike. And
That's
it's
a big
great,
victory.
But it is, and but I love it. We take very long road trips. We go down to the Carolinas from New York. I just spent 10 days going through the Alps in Europe 3 times on a Harley Davidson that I'd rented. So I think I'm ready for a faster bike. I'm really looking forward to the next, because when you hit 50, the rule is you either have to get divorced or get a motorcycle. It's one or the other. So I decided to go with the motorcycle.
Yeah, it's definitely the latter of the two.
Yeah.
So when we went to break, we were talking about, if you should or should not author, and there's different reasons. Like I've been authoring books to either break into a niche, use it as a business card, or speaking at events. And so, and I use them for back of the room sales, or actually it's a trigger sell. And so, but now I'm moving into that next level. And Amy was sharing that, one, is your book ready to be a traditional published book and having the right people? That's what we were talking about before we went to break. So why don't you, share with some of the other issues that authors are going to potentially face that they should know about this industry moving forward?
Well, one of the things that I would recommend that people that they start with is that they should know where the pitfalls are, and that comes from educating themselves, and it's not that hard to figure it out. Assigning yourself even 10 minutes a day, 3 days a week, assigning yourself a few bloggers to read or follow, picking up a copy of a book. Yes, mine would be great, but there's other even better ones out there. Reading some blogs on New Shelves, reading what's going on in buildbookbuzz.com, perhaps subscribing to and paying attention to thebookdesigner.com. There's some wonderful experts out there who, with just a little reading a day for a few weeks, will educate you so thoroughly on some of the things I'm about to tell you. Things like you need your own publishing house. You probably, there's almost no good reason to pay someone good money to do what you can do yourself, because in this freelance world, you can find fantastic designers and wonderful editors and people who can help you put a great book out. And there's no reason to, if you're a business owner, there's no reason to give your brand, your book content, even though you still own the copyright, there's no reason to give your distribution rights, any of that away. You should keep that yourself. So I guess that's my number one bit of advice. Educate yourself so that you don't need to depend on someone else. And heaven forbid, you don't want another human being. We're all flawed. Human beings are not perfect. But you don't want another human being between you and your book. You want control of your book.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and even if somebody did, the process for going through getting a publishing agent and or a publisher, I mean, they're getting thousands of books a day, manuscripts that for each genre, and they only produce about 30 or so books a year is what I've heard. I mean, so trying to get an actual publisher, and then even when you do, you start to lose a little bit of control, is my understanding of what the title, the cover, and some of those. So you want to be able to have controls. That was the one thing that I wanted, and especially for what I was trying to do and the purpose that I was trying to drive at. What are some things that, because some people may think that's the route to go, as far as trying to do professional publishing?
You mean getting an agent and a professional publisher?
Yeah, the process
It's not a terrible idea depending on your goals.
Right.
If you have 18 to 24 months to dedicate to the process of getting published, if it's not time sensitive, then traditional publishing is not a bad idea. If you are someone who knows deep in your heart that you are not interested in doing any of the work that it's going to take to properly publish your book, if you can just be honest with yourself and say, that is not me. I just want to write. I do not want to find an editor. I don't want to go. I just won't do it. I know me. Well, then you know what? Let's get you an agent. Let's see what we can do. There's a wonderful website called agentquery.com that has terrific articles on how to find an agent, and it even lists agents that are taking submissions by category. So go to agentquery.com. But if you don't have 2 years before you want your book to come out, if you are a business person who says, hey, I figured out how to run a business, I can certainly figure out how to put a book together. And if you are willing to either hire someone to do it for you or educate yourself to do it properly yourself, then starting your own publishing industry is a much better idea for most entrepreneurs, because we are business people, we're smart, and we don't want to give up control. When you get traditionally published through HarperCollins you're only going to get a very, very small percentage of each sale. I'm talking anywhere from 50 cents to maybe $1.25. That's it, per unit, per sale.
Yeah, well,
you don't make a lot of money, and that changes when you do your own book.
Well, and that's the thing. So, like, when I could have, I didn't want to go down the route of a direct publisher and a publishing agent. I wanted the book for positioning and using it as a magnet to generate leads, and that's really the goal that I had. Well, at least now, like when I went to go speak and do keynote in the corporate world, I knew what the top 3 bookings were. They book on leadership, sales, and high performance and adversity. So I created 3 books around that for positioning, right? So again, it really comes down to your goal and what you're trying to do, and who's your audience, I believe. So if moving forward in the future, what do you see that is coming down, or what do you predict as far as like what things are going to happen in this industry for folks?
If you are publishing a book specifically to get your expertise, your advice out there. And if one of your goals is to grow the number of people who become aware of you, you have never been in a better spot than you are today. Because what's coming down the pike is we are in a golden age of equality when it comes to access to different publishing entities. Audiobooks are now almost 20% of book sales in terms of units. And there are companies out there, fantastic companies, that will allow you to do an audiobook and to distribute your audiobook for very little financial. I've said this for years. Time, talent, money. Pick any two. If you've got talent and time, you're all set. If you've got talent and money, you can do it. But if all you've got is time and money and no talent, you're still probably in good shape. But
2 out of the 3, you're in.
That's it. Pick any two and you're fine. So with audiobooks, if you've got a great book and you've got some time, there are now entrees, places you can go like ACX. There's companies that partner with Draft to Digital that allow you to actually get your audiobook done for almost no money, as long as you invest the time. And if you don't have the time, you can also invest the money. And ebooks. Ebooks are not going away. Stop reading the articles in the New York Times saying ebooks are dying. They're not. Mm-hmm. What happens is the New York Times is only interviewing the top 10 publishers, and those guys are pricing ebooks at ridiculous rates. Stephen King's last ebook was $15, $16 for an ebook. Of course they're not seeing the sales in ebooks. Would you spend $15 or $16 on an ebook
No.
when you can buy the paperback for $12?
No, not at all.
Ebooks are doing great. There's nothing wrong. They're growing like crazy, but it's because publishers like us, the next level down, we're still putting our ebooks out at $7, $9, $3, $5. Ebooks, audiobooks. So what's coming down the pike is a democratic wave, an equal wave of access that we've never had before. You can get an audiobook out there. You can get a YouTube channel. You have access now to Amazon marketing, Facebook ads. These things were not available to small publishers a few years ago, and this particular exciting period in history is allowing us an even playing field like we've never had before.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, and so you're going towards distribution now. So talk a little bit about that, because that's something that you're really, I've learned a lot from you is how to distribute these books once you get going. And what
if you designed an extremely popular sweatshirt that everybody wanted, it was the perfect cut, it was the perfect weight, it kept you warm, it, looked amazing, would you only put it out in one color?
No.
Okay. And would that color be orange? Because I got to tell you, I would not buy anything that was orange. It doesn't look good on me. Too many authors put their book out in one format. They say, everybody wants hardcover. Well, here's a tip. Nope. Very few people want hardcover. Most authors think that hardcover lends a heavy gravitas to their message. That may be true for a small percentage of the market. So put your book out in hardcover. But that's the same thing as putting your sweatshirt out just in orange. Mm-hmm. I also need you guys to publish in paperback. I need you to publish in audio. I need you to publish in ebooks. I need that same content offered for licensing through ProQuest and to libraries. Go to corporate and university libraries, and offer your content, just the text, and they'll pay you every time someone reads your content on a subscription service. Go to airlines and see if any of it, because a lot of them do, if they've got white papers and smaller versions of books available for people to download and read while on the plane on their own devices. Mm-hmm. Distribution does not mean you pick one element of a book and run with it. That was 1984. Those days are over.
Yeah, now we have this equal wave of access.
Yes.
You got to use it.
It used to be you'd come out with a hardcover and then a year later a paperback. That's not how. Everybody absorbs data a different way. So make sure your content is, and make sure you're reading your books and your content into videos on YouTube. Get people to subscribe to your newsletter. Charge them a small amount if you can get away with it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a valid point. Like, I love audiobooks because of my time. Like even my drive up today, we had traffic, and I had there was this app that I use called Blink, and I listened to 3 books on the way up here. Right, so I mean, audio is probably the most powerful for me. That is for my learning and keeping abreast of what's going on in the industry and other great books. So, well.
Amy, we're going to have you back after the break, so I want to ask you a few more questions. But we're going to go to a commercial real quick because this is great knowledge for our listeners.
Yeah.
The free sites, everything. So when we come back, we'll have Amy Collins on the show in the now.
105.5.
Welcome back to In the Now with Brandon Heinz and Mike Driggers. And we have a special guest today, Amy Collins, the president of New Shelves Books. So, Amy, great points you put out there. The print on demand, the airport stores, cover and design, having that great cover and the pricing set right. And you've even gone over a lot of the pitfalls. And what I think you've just nailed is that equal wave of access, because everybody takes their media, everybody takes their books, everybody takes everything differently, just like none of us drink the same style of coffee. So having that access point for all of these levels is a lot easier nowadays than it used to be. So what I'd like to know is that if I'm a business owner listening today, and I go to your website and I just basically look into you, that newshelves.com, how does somebody work with you to get all this done?
I am not a book shepherd per se.
Yeah.
A book shepherd is somebody who touts, and rightfully so, takes someone through the entire process from idea to finished book. You don't want me doing that.
No.
No, that is not my skill. My attention to detail is a little lax, but I'm a sales and marketing crazy person. So if somebody has a book idea, the way they could work with me, it starts with a free phone call. We get on the phone, nothing costs nothing, and we come up with their idea, and I mean to them for about 15 minutes. I'm horrible. I ask them very harsh questions, and we make sure they really have a book in them, and then I can introduce them to any one of a number of people, or they can do it themselves. I can introduce them to editors and designers and layout people. But the important thing is to have a proper publishing plan.
Yeah.
And while I'm not the right person to help you turn it into a book, I am exactly the right person to help you create the plan. And then when the book is being finished, I come back around and I can help you. You want to get into airport stores? That's where I help. For a lot of entrepreneurs, it's all about corporate libraries and public libraries and getting the word out. Libraries are an enormous market that's growing like crazy in the United States. Now, for those of you who are listening outside of the United States, if you're streaming, I'm talking about the U.S. just for this one aspect. But libraries are a much overlooked venue for business people and for entrepreneurs that they shouldn't be, because there are so many business people now who have accounts where ebooks are downloaded right to their iPhone while they're on the train, and they're reading books that they hear about. And the most important way that I work with people, it's all about sales and marketing.
Yeah.
See, Mike was talking about how he did his book so he could grow his speaking business and grow his client base. I want you guys to make money on the actual book. It's great that you've got a bigger speaking footprint now. I think that's amazing.
Yep.
But I don't consider myself having done my job until you're making a serious profit on the book itself. Your book should actually be a money-making venture, not a loss leader.
Yeah,
and that's where I can help.
Yeah, and I totally agree, because that's the next level that I'm moving, and that's why I'm working with Amy. I'm that person that can take, with our course, Instant Authority Now, take you through how to create the book and depending on where you want to go and your goals. I'm that person, but I even told Amy I'm not that person to go now and do the traditional marketing. That's why
you do what you do best and delegate the rest. That's our motto behind the Design It course.
Exactly. And so I do want to make money off of in different ways off the books that I publish moving forward, because I've already established myself for what I needed to do with the books I have now.
Yeah.
Now it's the next level. It's the next step for at least me personally. So,
so proper publishing plan.
Yep.
I love it. So, Amy,
Yes.
the website for you is newshelves.com.
Yes.
And you're giving away a free ebook on there.
Just for your listeners. It's for a limited time. So you go to newshelves.com/store, And you'll see a lot of freebies that I put up for your listeners, but the Right Way is the name of my book. You can download a PDF of it and start reading. And it's a short book that gives you an overview of what you're facing if you decide to start your own publishing enterprise.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's great.
Thank you so much for being on our show today. It's been amazing.
One last question. I've got one last question. What question should we have asked? I always ask this of our audience, or speakers, I should say.
Well, my home address and how I prefer to have the checks made out.
Yeah.
Probably for anyone who wants to send me a little something.
Yeah, a little gift.
I guess what a stumper. Wow. The one question I guess I'm always wishing that I was asked is what do I wish? What would I wish for potential authors out there? If there's only one thing that they can do today, what is the one thing that I hope that they do? And it's this: to not believe what they think. The one question I wish you'd asked is what is the number, what is the biggest mistake that authors, the biggest mistake I see them making? Mm-hmm. And the answer is they believe what they think, and they take what they think as gospel as opposed to setting it aside and doing research to find out if it's really true. I believe everything my brain tells me. Mm-hmm. And that's natural and normal. It's human nature. But it's probably the number one way that authors get in trouble. They think they know things because it's what they believe. And I would suggest that the number one thing that I wished people could take from our talk today is that it's more important to get the facts of what's really happening. And it's easy. It's never been easier. We're, again, in a golden age with the Internet. You can learn what's really going on. Get the facts. Get the data. Don't believe what you think. If you do that for me, guys, this has been the best use of an hour I've ever spent.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm a victim to what she said.
Yeah,
my second book.
It's the mindset. Everything that we do nowadays comes down to the mindset.
Yeah. So the importance of, I think the valid point that she made is research, and I even survey now everything. Right. I surveyed the cover. I surveyed the topic and the chapters. I survey to make sure that I'm getting the average of something that people want. But yes, I agree with you completely. Well, Amy, it's been an amazing interview. I knew it was going to be. I was excited about this, and we're definitely going to have many more conversations here in the near future. But I want to thank you for being on In the Now with myself and Brandon Heinz. And any last words you want to say before we go?
I hope everyone has a wonderful book in them, and that they get it out in the next year. And if I can be of help, please just come find Amy Collins at New Shelves. I'd love to be of service.
Awesome. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
All right, listeners, that was action-packed, full advice. I mean, so many just little gold nuggets. Bookdesigner.com, agentquery.com. Just the thing about the audiobooks, ACX, all the stuff that she shared, the pitfalls. If you've got a book in you, come out to Design It. We'll help you crack it.
Yep.
We're giving away free tickets at the Design It course to our Instant Authority course, which is all about positioning yourself to get your book out. So remember, go to designitcourse.com, get your free ticket with the promo code DesignIt105, which right now for the next 48 hours is wide open. You just literally go to the site, take a look at it, look at the information we're giving out there, and jump right in and register and reserve your seat for the April 20th event. We'll be live for 3 days, free for all of our listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. Take advantage. And if you're not only are you going to learn about a little bit about the book authoring, which we're definitely going to help you, but you're going to learn how to monetize in different ways. And as you heard, the new marketing and things that will be done, but your sales funnels, how do you put those together?
Yeah,
your ideal
all
clients.
the equal wave of access that's out there.
Yeah, we're going to find your ultimate goal. We're going to help you discover that and how to get it out and your message out in different platforms and different methods. So take advantage of the course that we're offering. And again, that's designitcourse.com, and it's DesignIt105. You can go to the registration page, put that in there, and it's free. Free. I love free.
So what I love right now, and what I thought was just amazing where she hit it, is the equal wave of access.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing it through everybody. I mean, Gary Vaynerchuk's really pushing it out there. Like, there's so much access. You've got so much access right now that you've never had before to do whatever you want. You can position yourself and, like she said, own your own brand. So coming out to the Design It course, learning your brand messaging, like learning what to do for how to position yourself for these next steps, and finding out where your niche is at. Maybe it is just LinkedIn. Maybe it's YouTube. Maybe it's getting that audio book, that ebook out there. But really positioning yourself so that your book or what you're going to go after is positioned right for the right audience. Because we always say there's only two things that can go wrong in marketing: the wrong message to the right people, or the right people with the wrong message. So it's either a flip or a flop on that. So you've got to learn this. Who's my audience? What's my message to them? And how am I going to get this equal wave of access to work for me? That's why the Design It course is set up this way. So go to designitcourse.com and get your free tickets. For the next 48 hours, we're giving away 10 tickets plus a guest. So that's 20 free tickets for the Hyatt in Roseville this April 20th, 21st, and 22nd. It's going to be an amazing event. And as you can see from everybody that's been on this show, is we're just giving. Every one of our guests have given something to you. They've given knowledge, gold nuggets. Me and Mike are sharing gold nuggets 24/7. And this event's just going to be action-packed, full of just free content for you to take this playbook and implement into your business to grow, to design your business, to gain more life, and go on that vacation, go on that Harley ride across. Where did she say she was at?
She's in New York.
You know, where she went on the ride was like in Spain or somewhere off of
yeah.
it. But that's because she's got her positioning done right and her marketing is going good. And that's what we all want, is we want to design our business to gain more of our life. So designitcourse.com, get your free tickets, and come see us for 3 days.
Yes, absolutely. And, you know, we're here every Thursday at 10 a.m. on Money Talk 105.5, right? So always tune in to our show, because we definitely are providing those gold nuggets. And, you know, I agree with you. The audience, the openness, there's so many different modalities of delivery now.
Yeah, the
of your
equal
knowledge.
wave of access.
Yep.
So thank you guys on Money 105.5 in the Now Radio with Brandon and Mike.
We'll talk to you next week. Bye for now.